Good afternoon. This is Brian Johnson, and I am honored, that you have taken the time to invest in yourself and to share this time with me for some information that is near and dear to my heart and that I've invested my whole life in learning. And I am by no means a master and by all means a student of this information. So let me just give you a little bit of background on myself so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from and why I do what I do, and perhaps why you may gain some valuable wisdom if you choose to use and execute some of the information I'm going to share with you tonight. So I am 37 years young, and I say 37 years young because I am probably in the best shape mentally, physically, and spiritually I've ever been in my life, and I don't feel 37. I feel better than I did when I was 20, and it is possible because our bodies are constantly renewing by our foods, by our thoughts, by our environment, by our friends, by our business, all of that stuff. They all play valuable roles in helping us to thrive. So I started doing this stuff when I was 7 years old. I know it's crazy. I have 30 years invested heavily. I got into the garage with my dad when I was 7 years old, and we had weights and things that he had made and constructed. He was real good with his hands and still is. And that's where I started my weightlifting career. I was reading and at least looking at Arnold pictures in fourth and fifth grade. I had a gym membership in the fifth grade at World's Gym where I worked out with my brother, and that's really where I really started on my bodybuilding lifestyle and mentality. And even then, at a young age, even though I was lifting weights and involved in sports, I knew that food played a valuable role. I just didn't know how valuable yet. I knew after a while that it didn't matter how hard you worked out and what plans you were doing and what workouts you're doing and what type of cardio we're doing. If you weren't eating right, at least to support your body and what you were looking to accomplish, you're wasting your time. And that is still 100% accurate. With that information in mind, as I started really getting into personal training when I was 15 and then through 18 years old, I really started digging into it. That's what I decided to sink my teeth in with at school. So when I went to college, I was majoring in sports management, and I got in there. And crazy enough, I knew all the answers, and I was good at all the stuff I liked to do. I just was not good at all the English and things of that nature, which I had no interest in learning and doing all that fun stuff. So honestly, I got bored of school when I was about 21. I completely got about 89 hours into it and say, you know what, this isn't for me. But what is for me, I went back to Houston and started running training departments for 24-hour fitness. And it was during this time frame that I really expanded. I went from working as a personal trainer to running personal training departments in charge of $100,000 a month of personal training, in charge of between 16 and 23 trainers. And at that time is where I really started to dig in. That's where I started going to Baylor Sports Medicine. I started going through National Academy of Sports Medicine. I have an extensive background through both of those areas of education. I used to work with people with prosthetic limbs and knees and artificial joints and things of that nature, and all kinds of crazy stuff that has really blessed me and allowed me to bless others. I knew still that food played a really vital role. And as I started getting into 24 and 25 years old, this is where it really kind of started to set in. What my catalyst was for really getting into food healing was my dad coming down with prostate cancer. And when this happened, I didn't know anything about it to help him out. So I started contacting my friends and my resources, my doctors, my naturopathic doctors, the people that I knew from being in the industry. And none of them really had a specific go-to answer. If they did, it had nothing to do with food. It was like just supplements and sleep in a sleeping bag with castor oil and just stuff that just didn't really seem logical to me. Well, with that gap in my knowledge, that's ultimately what really set me on a subconscious mission of me unknowing what I was really looking for, which really led me into one of my teachers named Jeff Primack. The guy's amazing. I have learned a significant amount of my information from him, specifically in the area of food-based healing, or symptom-based healing is what I prefer to call it. So a lot of what we teach people on is real simple. Mastering the basics. Air, that's the first thing you would die without. Water, the second thing you would die without. Food, the third thing you would die without. sleep and consciousness, which is our thoughts, our emotional patterns, our upbringing, how we were raised, what we believe in, the filters that we run our experiences through that are either helping our highest potential or inhibiting us and keeping us from thriving because we're in shame or guilt or unforgiveness or resentment, all of that stuff. Okay, some body language, we'll talk about that too. So during the last 5 years of my life, I have invested more time in my information and education than I ever have in my life. Like at this point in my journey, I have over and I'm not saying this because of, whoa, one of those. I'm saying this because I'm choosing to share this with you so you can really understand how passionate about I am, because what I've invested my whole life in to support you on the level that I have yet to see someone else do it, because they haven't had the experiences, the teaching, and just the amount of passion all to one circumstance and one person, and two being Chris, to really support you with this information. So for the last 5 years, I've really invested a ton of time, Chris and I both, in coaches, in retreats, in personal self-mastery, and getting into body language, and getting into languaging, and getting into some awesome modalities that really allow us to support people on a significant level. And I share that with you so you can understand why I'm here, why you could potentially gain some knowledge from me that could potentially save or extend your life and reverse some pretty terminal situations that most people think are irreversible. So that's just a little bit on me. Chris, let me talk about him. He's not able to be on the call right now, so let me just give you a little feedback on him. Chris is amazing. I've known Chris for since 2000, 15 years now. And I ran into Chris when I was running personal training departments at 24 Hour Fitness in Austin. We kind of hit it off really well. And he just started, at this time, he was just getting into his fitness career, meaning just starting to work out. He was what we call a cubicle junkie, meaning he had all the posture situations and his little belly going on, and he was just unaware of what was going on. And at that time, we became really good friends. And I really took him under my wing and just started sharing all the stuff that I knew about nutrition and about fitness macros or fitness dieting, meaning how you can take someone from 300 pounds and get them ready for a show. And then we started getting into food nutrition with disease-specific nutrition reversals from the grocery store, like understanding why kiwis reverse asthma, why asparagus is your #1 detoxifier, and taking all that information and really started investing in him. At that point, we started really growing massively together. And this is kind of where we're at now. And this is why we're doing this, to reach millions of people, specifically starting with you, so that you can use this for yourself and then see how it works for you and just share it. And it happens through a ripple effect. So without further ado, I am going to take a sip and we're going to start some slides. So if you have some water, I encourage you to drink it. That's the second thing you would die without, and extremely important. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about that today. So let's do it. I hope you're ready to have an awesome time, because I always am. And it's honestly, there's nothing more in the world that I'd rather be doing than doing this right here. So when I say this is it for me. This is what I live for consistently, daily, to grow and to thrive and to share and grow, gain, and give. So without further ado, I'll stop yapping on that topic and let's get down to some fun. So here we go. About today, okay? Basically, what we're going to talk about today is what we've been talking about for our last 6 weeks. We're going to talk about the things we're going to discuss today are going to be alkaline and acidic balances, which, if you're not familiar with alkaline and acidic balances, this is probably one of the most crucial pieces of information that you could actually know and understand about yourself. So the difference between an acidic cell and an alkaline cell, okay? An acidic cell is basically the lack of oxygen. Alkaline equals oxygen. The big difference is diseases, illness, and other bad situations thrive in acidic environments, okay? Now, when you have oxygen present in your body, which is where vegetables come from, which is where good, clean water comes from, that creates a thriving body, which is where disease doesn't have an opportunity to thrive. So that's number one. And how you can check if you're alkaline or acidic is you can basically go to your grocery store, you know, natural grocers, a Whole Foods, Sprouts, something like that, Trader Joe's if you got, and you can get some what's called keto strips. Keto strips you can pee on, and what they do is they tell you whether you're acidic or whether you're alkaline. Okay. Now, after that, if you go to, we're going to talk about digestion. Now, digestion is a big deal. Have you ever heard of leaky gut? Okay. Leaky gut is basically when our intestines are inflamed. And if you saw any of my Facebook posts today, you saw some stuff on inflammation or gut bacteria, probiotics. Okay. So our intestines are very important. Our intestines is the #1 and first line of defense for our immune system. Over 80% of our immune system is found in our gut, which is a huge deal. Okay. Now, when we have bad foods like fried vegetable oils, when we have junk foods, when we have sodas, when we have acidic foods that our body does not like, what happens is our gut inflames. Okay. Now, when you're healthy, we have up to 4 pounds of gut bacteria in our gut to balance out the equation between bad and good bacteria and bad bacteria. Now, as our gut inflames, we have what's known as called leaky gut. A lot of people have this. This is your #1 potential issue to resolve when you're talking any type of healing protocols or just thriving in general. Okay. Leaky gut is where when the gut gets inflamed, there's probiotics that line the whole intestinal tract. And what happens is as that gets inflamed, it stretches out. And we have leaks or gaps in our gut where probiotics are supposed to be lined so that when we eat food, those probiotics go in there to digest all the food and the nutrients. And what happens is that's sealed off. We have a good, tight digestive system. If not, when those leaks happen, foods go in between the leaks and the body thinks it's being attacked. So it releases immune system response on the food that's supposed to be helping us to heal and to nurture us. And instead, it is not. That's a big deal that you use by probiotics, you use by waters, you use by vegetables, all that stuff. Okay. Next one. Most people are under the impression that sunlight is bad for us. Okay. Sunlight's extremely crucial in the sense that that's actually how we process vitamin D and how we get vitamin D, which helps with our cholesterol, helps with our hormones, helps with our brain function like serotonin. And actually, anybody who has any type of illness, 20 minutes of sunlight for you a day is required for you to thrive. That's a big deal. And I'm not talking about go out during the middle of the day when it's 12 or 1 o'clock and it's blazing hot, but between the hours of 9 and 11 and 4 and 6, those are the times you want to try to do this. Hang tight. I'm going to see if I can get these slides to pull up now, see if they're being cooperative. All right, I think we got it now. Bam, here we go. Take a moment. So yeah, that's a picture of Chris and I. We're in LA, basically at the beach at a mastermind, and we already talked about us, so we're gonna speed it up. So here's what I want you to do. Turn off your cell phones, close your Facebook, go where it's quiet, get some water, take some notes, because I want you to think about this one question. What if the information that we share with you tonight can change your life? Because I've seen it, and you're going to hear from one of our clients here in a couple of minutes that actually had some pretty amazing things happen. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the current state of our people in the US. Okay, and this is the 4 leading causes of death according to the disease Center of Disease Control. And now keep in mind, you see that says 2010. That's because those are the last stats that are available. Yeah, I'm like you. I'm like, really? That's the last ones that are available? That's right, because they don't report them. And then when we get down to the bottom, you're going to see something even more interesting, okay? So what we have down here is you got heart disease, almost 600,000 deaths a year. Cancer's almost right up there with it. Chronic lower respiratory disease is 140,000 almost. Strokes, 130,000. Now, you look down there after that and you see 350,000 deaths per year linked to overweight and obesity. Now, here's the interesting one. You may have heard us say this before, but if you have not, I'm going to ask you the question. Have you heard of the term iatrogenesis? Don't feel bad if you haven't, because I have been in this field my whole life, and I have never heard of that until 2 years ago. And that simply means this. There is 220 to 448,000 deaths per year that are preventable, that happen off of medical errors. Now, I will say this. I am for Western medicine. I believe they have some amazing capabilities, and I have seen amazing things happen. And trust me, if I were to ever get into a wreck, cancel clear, my leg were to break, I would beg you, please take me to a Western medicine doctor. And if it came down with me having something else that I just came down with, I would definitely go the Eastern route, which we call common sense. That's all about your food. Okay. Now, here's the cool thing. All of those are preventable by lifestyle choices, which is really where we invest the time in educating our people, our clients, our family, our friends. You are in every one of those categories. This is how we invest stuff, or we invest education and information. So now you got one of my friends and longtime clients. This is Violet. So you're going to hear what she's got to say about an experience that's, I'm still amazed at what happened. So here we go.
Hi, my name is Violet. I choose to take a few minutes and talk to you about my experience with reaching out to Brian. About 6 months ago, I contacted Brian. I just had some questions about nutrition, different things I could change up just to start feeling better. And we also talked about different medications I was on at the time. He mentioned foods that specifically could do the same thing as what the medications were doing, except naturally. And so along with that, and the other list of things that he said to try, I started doing that immediately. And after about a month, I started to wean myself off of one of my medications. And then after I got off that one, I started weaning myself off another medication. And after 3 months, I had gotten off of 5 medications. Some of these medications I was on for 30 years, some I was on for 15 years, and some I was on for 10 years. And so these are things that I thought I was going to have to take for the rest of my life. Before that conversation with Brian, I didn't even realize that there was another option. And it's been 6 months since, I talked to him about these, specific things, and 3 months of being completely off medicine. And I really am so happy and thankful and grateful for Brian and for the work that he does, and just the love that he has for people, and showing them that they have other options, that they can feel good just with the right information. And I just feel really blessed to have that opportunity to talk to him about those things going on in my health and my diet, and that he's so knowledgeable and just really helpful, and offers you this opportunity to change your life. And that's at least the way I look at it, because I look at this more than just, oh, I'm off medication. To me, it's a miraculous act, to be able to say I'm free from all of this. And it's also given me, such a sense of empowerment too, to know that, doctors couldn't do this, boots from the grocery store did this. So it's kind of wild, but definitely grateful for it. Thank you.
So yeah, that still is one of the most amazing experiences that I've had with some of my clients. And crazy enough is that I've had multiple amounts of these things, experiences of people's lives being changed from foods. And I was like, man, this is amazing. I was like, is it really that easy? Yes, it is that easy. When you understand the symptom, when you understand the foods, it's that easy. We're going to talk about some more stuff now. So hopefully that just kind of opens your eyes to what's available. If I just maybe suspend my beliefs that I've been handed down from commercials and doctors and things, that maybe there are some other options out there of some things that are at my grocery store and some mindset tricks that can truly change where I'm at right now and the trajectory of my life and my family's life for generations to come. That's my goal and my mission in life. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about foods. We're going to talk about our environment and how our environment actually affects us, meaning our relationships, our jobs. Man, I'll be honest with you. I have personal experience with so many people that hate what they do. If you take away anything tonight, I invite you to truly ask yourself the question, would I do what I'm doing for free? That's how much I love it. And for me, I can answer that and say absolutely 100% yes, because I've done it all my life virtually for free, helping people out. So I can say unequivocally, this is what I would do. And if this is not a position that you can say, then I invite you to think about what your options are, because life is too short to be stuck in something that you are unhappy with. And you, no matter what happens and no matter what you think, if you don't have a choice, you always have a choice. Don't think and don't let yourself be backed into a corner. So we briefly talked about digestive flora and how our gut should have 4 pounds of gut bacteria. And even crazier than that, there can be anywhere from 6 to 20 pounds of undigested food matter in your stomach, in your intestines rather, if your food is not being digested, assimilated, and withdrawn appropriately. And that comes from the type of foods, with your vegetables, with water, all kinds of fun stuff. We're also going to talk about some emotional immune boosting with foods and some emotional boosting with foods. Emotional withholding, we don't really talk about this a lot on these more introductory webinars. I'm just going to share something with you that's available to you. I have become heavily passionate, irrationally passionate, it's probably a better way of saying it, about understanding and learning and understanding how to read body language. And I'll tell you this, I work with people with cancer and Parkinson's and AIDS and things, of people that are in those type of situations. And having the wisdom to do that, God has blessed me amazingly with being able to provide support for them. And understanding that knowledge, I still find body language to be twice or more as fascinating as what's truly available for what your body is communicating to you right now. You could be having itches and scratches and things going on that you're completely unaware of, that your subconscious is communicating right now using your body like the dashboard of a car. Okay? Foods, how to fight cancers, how to fight them, how to reverse them. The hell with fighting, that's for chumps. Let's reverse it. That's completely possible. And then we'll talk about GMOs, okay? Specifically, I'm going to talk about these two things, the kiwi and the beet. And I have them up there for a specific purpose because I'm going to tell you a couple stories. The first story is going to be about my client. She is 73 years old. And at the age of 25, she had to stop playing tennis, which is what she was completely passionate about in her life. Okay. Now, crazy thing is that she had to move from Austin. She moved to Arizona to try out different climates. She actually almost died 3 times because she went under not being able to breathe and almost wasn't resuscitated. She had the best professionals from around the world in respiratory division that were not able to help her. Needless to say, her quality of life was dramatically diminished. Okay? So when she came to see me 2 years ago, the first day that we worked out, literally, we worked out for 20 seconds and we took a break for 1 minute each time to catch her breath. So I said, okay, tomorrow, here's what you're going to do. You're going to have 2 kiwis, and let's start with that before we put anything else in there, and let's see how this works. Okay. Next day, she comes into the gym, and it gives me chills just telling the story, because if I wouldn't have seen it for myself, I would not believed it. Well, on 2 kiwis a day, having debilitating asthma for 43 years, she went through a whole workout without stopping one time to catch her breath. And I sit here almost dumbfounded. If you could see me, I have my mouth kind of open. I'm still sitting here just processing what I saw. Now, I've worked with over 14,000 people, and I have seen a lot of things, and I have never seen anything as crazy as what I've seen with body language and foods, of what I've been able to support people with, and for them to see what their body's doing and how to reverse it. The next story is about the beet. The beet beats disease. My teacher, Jeff Primack, talks about one of his teachers. A lady came in to see him that had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, which, you know, stage 5 is you're out of here. Okay, not a whole lot of luck, not a whole lot of hope at that point. Well, the lady tells his teacher, I'm not leaving here until you tell me something to do. He goes, well, look, he goes, I can't promise you anything. He goes, but you can try this. He goes, I'm not promising you anything, but you can try this. So here's what she got to try. She got to do 6 pounds of blended beets a day. Now, if you've ever had a beet, you probably understand what I'm talking about. If you've ever had 6 pounds, that's a whole nother story. Basically, in a month, she did this every day, and she came back, and that tumor was almost gone. Now, if I haven't heard thousands of these stories and seen them myself, I wouldn't believe it, but it happens. So now, we briefly talked about the things earlier when I was on my moment of brain dysfunctioning lapse trying to get the computer to work. So you can tell that working computers isn't really my deal, and working on people is just my deal, so we'll make it work. So the acid alkaline balance, a good takeaway for you, an action step, is to get some keto strips, acid alkaline strips at the store, a health food store, so you can see where you're truly functioning. If you can just keep your eye on this, your ability to teach yourself how to thrive and to understand where your body's functioning at will be amazingly different and more effective. Now, here's the important part of water. First off, go ahead and take you a drink. Water is what accounts for 80% of our energy, because it takes, like a vehicle, our oxygen, our nutrients. It also pulls out the toxins from our body to expel them out. I would suggest, depending upon the size of you, I would suggest 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon plus a day, depending upon how active you are, the temperature are, what type of activities you do. Obviously, that's another conversation. The important is drink some water, and not just any water, because just because it's clear, don't pull a Brian. When I say a Brian, that's me. Back in my meat-headed days, about 4 years ago, I had this experience with Chris where he was like, hey, this lady wants us to come check out this water she's drinking. I was like, dude, come on. It's clear. What's it good? What do you mean? There's nothing different about it. So I said, okay, Brian, instead of you being ignorant and meat-headed, what if it is different? I'm going to look it out and check it out. So what I did was, Chris and I decided to go to this lady's house here in Austin about 4 years ago now. And Chris was driving, and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and literally I was falling asleep, taking a nap on the way over there. That's how tired I was. So we arrive at the lady's house. We go inside, we sit down. She pours some water. Now, it wasn't a lot of water. It was maybe a cup. Cool thing about it was, as soon as I drank that water, I'm not even talking 3 to 5 seconds, what happened was my brain woke up immediately. Immediately. I was like, okay, something's up. Something's very different. I said, I have not had any thermogenics, which is like a caffeine pill or something that would stimulate me. I haven't had any food. So for me to have a carbohydrate influx or carbohydrate ingestion for my brain to function better had not happened. Okay. It was the water. Now, we'll leave it at that, because that's a whole nother conversation that Chris really likes to get into, and that's his baby. But that's definitely a more in-depth talk that we do in some of our classes. But understand this. There is a difference between waters, and just some basic information that you can take away now and implement. Distilled water is the mark of neutrality, which is a 7.0 pH. Okay. There are waters that go to a 7, waters that go to an 8, waters that go to a 9.5. If you choose to take this information and execute it now, start off with the distilled water. It's a 7.0. It's gonna, if you get a detox, which is possible, you'll ease into it with the distilled water, and you can gradually walk your way up. Chris and I drink a 9.5 pH water that has a restructured water molecule, which means the water molecule is 2/3 the size of a normal one. So your ability to transport oxygen and nutrients, the best description that I could tell you, 2 of them. It's like if you were to take golf balls and throw them through a chain link fence, you could probably get about 60% of them through there. Now, if you were to take marbles and do the same thing, you're going to get a lot more, which means that if you think about those marbles as the restructured water molecule, your ability to promote oxygen and enhance your functioning, best visual I can give you, it's like going from a Volkswagen smart car to a Formula One car, because you're literally changing the fuels that your body has to have and that is needed. I don't say required, it's needed, meaning you will die without it. And when you enhance the type of water that you drink, you will enhance your human experience, hands down. Okay. So now what we're going to talk about what I invite you to join us with. And this is our 6-week advanced nutrition course. Here's what we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss dietary theories. Specifically, we'll talk about the South Beach. We'll talk about the Atkins. We'll talk about the Zone. We'll talk about Raw. And we'll talk about the benefits of each of them. Because here's the thing. Chris and I, when we were at Institute of Integrative Nutrition, we studied over 100 different dietary theories. And the thing is, all of them have aspects that work. Every person on the planet is different. So for you to have one specific diet, sometimes it's not going to make most sense for your body. So it's really about finding that equation that helps you to thrive. Now, Chris and I will use 4 to 5 different theories combined. Like we'll do raw vegetarian vegetable smoothies. I'll do some meat sometimes. I'll do some vegan. It really just depends on what I feel like. And what we help people do is help what functions and resonates with their body, with their goals, and with their lifestyle to teach them how to thrive. We'll also talk about metabolic eating, which is how you eat to improve your metabolism. And look, if you're trying to lose weight or just get in shape, period, you're going to require eating 5 to 6 meals a day. You're going to need protein in each one of those meals, whether you do vegan sources, whether you do vegetarian, or whether you do meat, that's irrelevant. You're just going to require protein. It's important. Now, finding that balance is something that we would have to obviously do some structuring with you and looking at some variables and things that you have, but that's a lot of what we do too. Now, in that series, we're also going to talk about symptom reversal foods. Why kiwis reverse asthma, why beets are great for cleansing your blood and detoxifying yourself, why the asparagus is your #1 detoxifier. It's best to eat it weekly so you can detoxify your body. And the reason why your pee smells when you have asparagus is because it's pulling all the toxins out of your kidney and your liver. It's highly potent. Your top 3 foods to eat for detoxification and health and longevity is asparagus, avocado 2, broccoli #3. Start introducing those to your diet today. Slightly cook the asparagus, steam them rather, and definitely do that with the broccoli. We're also going to do a class on blending versus juicing. If you're not blending or you're not juicing, man, you're missing the boat. And we invite you to get a blender, get a Blendtec, get a Vitamix, a 3 horsepower blender for sure, because we will show you some amazing things using both of these. We're also going to talk about hormone balancing, how to balance out your hormones, how you hit when you hit certain areas in your life, 30 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, your hormones are changing. So when you understand that, you understand how to hook your foods up, man, you don't have to feel the slush and the slog and just the life of, man, I'm getting older and I got aches and pains. You know what? I'm healthier now than I've ever been. And you can do the same thing with the right information. We're also going to talk about digestive health. That's what we're actually talking about at 7 o'clock today. all the digestive health. We're talking about autoimmune and how when your food gets not broken down into your system and it gets into your bloodstream, you have an autoimmune response. And that's what most people are functioning off of. Autoimmune responses because their digestive tract isn't working. We're also going to talk about blood sugars and the importance of eating 5 to 6 meals a day to sustain your blood sugar levels so you have maximum brain function and maximum nutrients to drive your Formula One car. Okay? And then we're going to talk about why diets don't work and how it's about a lifestyle. And it's about measuring your progress weekly. I have someone that does my diet, so I don't do all my own nutrition. I have someone that I'm accountable to. And I invite you to do the same thing because it works. You get out of it emotionally. You have a professional looking over you, taking your whole lifestyle and teaching you how to put things in. And then you can measure once a week, not once a month. There's nothing worse than measuring once a month and wasting 3 weeks of time because you've had the improper formula or the improper food intake. And that's why I prefer measuring once a week. So here's what we're offering. If you choose to join us, I invite you wholeheartedly. This will be the best investment you've made in your life for your health, specifically because of what we're going to cover and how we're going to support you. Okay? So normally our 6-week course is $497 investment. Today, we're offering it for $197. And here's what you get. You get 6 live webinars. They're all about an hour each. Sometimes we get excited and we talk longer, but you'll get 6 recorded webinars, which means if you don't make it, you can go back and watch it. I can tell you this much. I used to watch my coaches' DVDs for, I have, probably 3,000 hours into watching and listening to his stuff because of how much of a difference it made. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to support you with this information so you can use it and you can support your family with it. Or people that are suffering right now would love information on this so that we can help them and help them to get out of where they're at and get them back in reclaiming their health and get them out of the medical system, which is kind of like a black hole. Here's the bonuses that you're going to get. We're going to give you all of our recipe books so you can see the stuff that we make, and we've got a ton of them. We're going to give you 2 months free access to our closed membership site where you can intermingle with your teammates and the people that are doing the exact same thing that you are. Where we post content in there specifically for that group to help them to thrive, where you can ask questions in a group setting so you have support and people who are going through and doing the same thing. You're also going to get a 30-minute consultation with one of us, okay? The next thing you're going to get is 2 Jedi Secrets videos that I've done. Multiple ones. There's one from A to Z on grocery store foods. There's one specifically on how to structure your own nutrition program, which is invaluable. So here's what you got. Here's the benefits of our program that you can expect from us. You're going to learn how to master the basics. It doesn't make a hill of beans to understand all these crazy supplements and things when you're not actually doing your air, water, and food and thoughts and mindsets to the best of your ability. Those supplements are going to do nothing, okay? Together, we've worked with over 13,000 people. And here's a wild one. Last year alone, we invested over $100,000 in coaches. My top priority in life is my education and my ability to serve and to create massive value in the world by sharing what Chris and I learned with you through our platforms, through Facebook, through our one-on-one coaching, through our group coaching. This is what God put us on a planet to do, and this is what we're on a mission that we're irrationally passionate about doing, okay? Learn the secrets to help you work right and be successful for life. We have a huge saying about how you can work right versus working hard. And it's possible when you understand the right tools and the right tricks, okay? We're also going to teach you how to learn or craft the perfect program for you. It's always going to be changing, so we're going to arm you with the information to understand how to do it. We're also going to help you how to reverse symptoms, okay? And you're also going to have all of this within the group support that all of them have the same goal, which is to get healthier, okay? Here's the thing. I invite you to think about this because I threw a lot of information at you. Depending upon where you're at, this could make a world of difference in your life. All I do is ask you to think about this. With where you're at right now, are you happy? Are you pleased with your success mentally, physically, in your business, in your relationships, with your personal relationship with yourself? Can you look yourself in the eye every morning in the mirror and say, you know what? I love you and I'm thankful for all the work that you do for me, body. I'm grateful for every piece of it. Even though it may not be where I like it to be, I know I'm a consistent work in progress and I give myself permission to move forward. If you can't say that, then you require this for yourself. You deserve this. You deserve to invest the rest of your life thriving and in the mindset of I can do it and I am worthy. And this is what we're going to help you with. Today, you can have more joy and peace about your life, creating greater health for both you and your family. You can wear the clothes that you choose versus the ones you have to. And let me tell you this, I've been 260 on 3 different occasions. So I understand the pitfalls of food and the lack of wisdom of not knowing how to produce what I'm looking for and not having the support and the accountability to do so. So I invite you in parting. Today is your day. You deserve to move forward in your life, and we would love to help you do so. And if this message resonated with you, then you can definitely enroll, and your next class starts at 7 o'clock. You let me know, and we'll be happy to take care of you and make sure that you are served to the best of our ability. We love you and we thank you. Have an awesome day. And remember, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. Have an awesome evening. Bye.